morning. How are you?
Morning, very good, thank you.
All right, so I'm looking at the official UFC rankings I have right up here in front of me. They still have you listed at number 9, so you're top 10 in the lightweight division. What was it about the welterweight division now and this matchup that made you guys want to sign up for it?
I think for me to compete at lightweight, it's been pretty hard. I'll be 39 in October, and I feel good at welterweight. I fought on this division before. I fought for the title in that division, went distance with the champion, and I decided to make the move, move up, and that's the way that I'm gonna be fighting, and I'm gonna be competing now on.
Okay, so a win in the main event on Saturday would obviously put you in the top 10 at welterweight. It sounds like you're saying you wouldn't go back down to lightweight again. This is official.
Yeah, that's official. If I have a fight that, like a super fight, that I'm gonna make very good amount of money, I'll do that. And I see that I still have this fight on Saturday and 6 more under my contract. I could tell you if it was a lightweight fight, I could maybe fight 4 more times. To be honest with you, it's just too hard on my body, and I think at welterweight I can go longer. I can extend my career more.
And you mentioned going 5 rounds with the champ. I was there in San Antonio, and I thought it was, you're one of the best strikers in the UFC, best boxers. And, Leon is known as one of the best, but he wasn't willing to really trade with you. He wanted to work a lot in the clinch and work a lot against the cage. This says a lot about your striking. Do you think that Vincent Luque takes the same approach?
Yeah, he could, but it's hard to. I watch, watching all his fights. He always comes to trade. Yeah, he gets hits a lot too, and he takes punch. So I'll take advantage of it. And but I'm ready for any situation. I've been working a lot on my clinch shoe, a lot on my ground game, wrestling with Nova União. It's been great for me being in Brazil for the past 2.5 years. But yeah, he could take that route.
Like we mentioned, you fought the champion. You also fought the newest challenger in Covington. So I just wonder if you have any predictions for the welterweight title fight.
Yeah, I think it's a very tough matchup. I would say 60-40, maybe 60% of chance for Colby win this fight. I gave Colby a slightly advantage, his wrestling skills, and he got a pretty good stand-up too, but I think he's going to mix it up more with the takedowns than Usman did, and he's going to he have better chance than Leon Edwards.
And just one more from me. As I mentioned, you're one of the best boxers in the UFC. 2 of your former opponents fought this past weekend in boxing. I want to know what your thoughts are on MMA fighters, particularly UFC fighters who are kind of better days are behind them, trying to go and box. They haven't really made a great showing. What do you agree with that statement, or what's your opinion?
Yeah, was Nate Diaz? Who else?
Nate Diaz and Jeremy Stevens was also on the card.
He was on the card. Yeah, man, I think MMA is too hard. It's really hard. It's hard to make a career. It's hard to train for. You have to strike. You have to knee. You have to train on the ground and wrestling, everything. So I think for guys that make the transition for boxing, it's because it's a much easier training. You don't have to suffer as much for a boxing camp than you do on an MMA camp. And and then Nate Diaz and Jake Paul, man, he was way bigger than Nate. And but yeah, it wasn't. I didn't watch the whole fight. I saw the results, but it wasn't a good performance.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi. It's been, you haven't fought this year yet. I'm wondering, what's been going on in the time that you've been away, and how were you able to remain positive that you'd be able to get back here and have a big fight when you got back?
Yeah, I was planning to fight in March this year, but before my last fight, I was on corticoids and antibiotics a week before the fight. I've been suffering with chronic sinus through allergies and all of that. And I finally, February or March this year, I got a surgery. My doctor said, you have 3 fractures in your nose. Then I didn't even knew of 3 fractures on my nose. And I fixed my nose, and I clean all my sinus, all my, everything. Doctor said, hey, how could you fight? Because you can't breathe. How could you sleep? Because I was having a hard time to sleep as well. And I was like that for years. And I got the surgery this year, and beginning of this year, and boom, all my hormone levels went up, like testosterone, everything else went up, because I'm able to sleep now, and I'm able to get my rest, and that's why it took longer to take this fight, because I got this surgery in the beginning of the year.
Have you noticed a difference in training, just being like your cardio and everything being better?
Definitely, everything. I don't feel my body, the soreness anymore. Even when I have a hard session, by the time I get home, I'm able to lay down and sleep for a couple minutes, and at night, I feel like 6 hours, 7 hours just pass, so fast, because once I lay down in bed, they just pass out. Because before, I was waking up during the night, drinking water, because I have, breathing through my mouth, getting dry mouth, and drinking water, and going to the bathroom. I couldn't sleep, and I could see the difference on this fight camp.
It seemed like you maybe moved your family here. Is that correct, that you've moved full-time back to the United States?
Yeah, I was in Brazil for almost 3 years, and lived in California for 10 years before Brazil, and we are now in Austin, Texas.
What was the decision to do that move?
I went to Austin back in 2016 with my wife, and she loves it. She liked the city, and I have a good history with Texas too. I won my belt over there, and I love the state, and we went there, and we like Austin. And beginning of this year, we went there again, and we saw a house. My wife loved the house, and we put our offer. They accept our offer, so we moved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, RDA. There was a report that came out about Vicente's last fight. He suffered a brain bleed. What was your thoughts when you saw that?
I don't know much about that. I heard of, but I didn't want to get too much information. Yeah, man, that's the sport. It's brutal, and I hope he's fully recovered.
Do you think Conor McGregor fights Michael Chandler?
He fight whoever he wants. He pick his fight. So I think it will make sense because of the show. Like Conor, man, to be honest with you, I don't think Chandler deserved that fight. There's other guys that deserve that fight, but I think it will make sense because of the show and all of that. Usually, all the coaches fight on the end of the show, but I don't know if it's the first time the coach didn't fight. I don't know the statistics, but it will make sense. But I don't think, to be honest with you, nothing against Chandler, but I think there's other guys that deserve that fight.
Who do you think deserves that fight? Other than yourself, obviously, but who else do you think deserves to fight?
Man, I think Justin Gaethje is a guy that has fought everybody. It will make sense he got that fight. Who else? Myself. And yeah, that was only those guys that come to my mind. And yeah, there's other couple guys that's been on the game for very long, deserve that fight.
Obviously, you were scheduled to fight Conor many years ago. If you never get to fight him, would that be disappointing?
Not at all. I have no frustrations on my career. I'm a very, I feel like I have fulfillment in my career. I have no regrets, no, not disappointed. If it don't happen, don't happen. Like back on the days, people start, oh man, you miss a lot of money, you miss a good payday. But I still have everything I want. I still have a good life. God's been blessing me throughout the years. And if it don't happen, don't happen. If it happen, great. I just got disappointed with that because I had never pulled out of a fight due injury. And holding the belt, having the belt, being the lightweight champion, I had to pull out was pretty, not because of the fight money, forget about that, just because of missing the fight,
And finally, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier fought for the BMF title. Many people think that you are one of the biggest BMFs in the sport. Would you like to fight for that title?
I don't think I make the requirements for that fight, to fight for the BMF. I'm a former champion, so I held the interim belt. Not the interim, but the linear belt. So guys that fight for that belt was guys that never held the championship before.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Now that you're set in on fighting at welterweight, I know the focus is fully on Vicente Luque, but when you look at the other guys on the welterweight roster, are there any matchups that interest you?
Yeah, that is, to be honest with you, I don't know who is in the rankings. I know Vicente is number 10, but I don't look at the ranks anymore, because back on the days, I've been in UFC for 15 years. We'll complete 15 years in November. So back on the days, everybody fights everybody, and whoever keep winning eventually fight for the title. So my goal now is keep winning my fights. Like being a former champion, I know the way for the belt is shorter. I remember back in 2017 when I moved up for the first time and I fought Tarek Safedin in Singapore. By the time I got home, I said, hey, man, I'm way behind the rankings. I'm probably never going to fight for the title in this division. UFC called me. Hey, Demian Maia doesn't want to take the fight with Tyron Woodley. Would you take it? So that's how that's how this game works. So beating Vicente now, everything can happen. Somebody can get hurt, and you know how this game changed.
For sure, and like you said, you're approaching 15 years with the UFC. When you look at your resume compared to Vicente, it's obvious that you have the experience side on that. You think the experience can help you prevail, come out on top Saturday night?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in a 5 rounds fight. I know that I'm able to push hard 5 minutes, 25 minutes. I know myself. I've been doing that on Fight Camp, and I'm just happy, man, to be here talking to you guys. Almost 15 years in UFC, fighting a main event still, after all those years having, being on a main event. That's I'm really happy with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You mentioned the 15 years, but you've been fighting for almost 20 years. You talked about, the things you have to do to take care of your body. Do you still enjoy it as much as you've done in the past? Does it still enjoy as much to fight now? And what keeps you motivated? What motivates you now to keep getting back in there?
Yeah, I just feel like when something happened that I'm hurt, if I get hurt or something happened in training, just to lay down at home, I feel sick. I can't stay at home. I love training so much. My body needs that. And people ask me, hey, when's the time to stop? And it's hard to tell. I think the first signs you see in your body, when your body's not holding up anymore, I don't see that yet. I think the mind and the heart is the last, because you're gonna try to keep pushing, your mind works the same, your heart works the same, even when you're older, but your body starts falling apart, and I'm not there yet. And my motivation is I got a 4-year-old, man. He's gonna be here on the Saturday night. I bring my whole family. I wanna give them this opportunity to be, they all asking me, hey, I wanna go to your fight, Dad. And I'll bring my whole family. So I know this chapter it's gonna finish one day, and I'm not gonna be fighting anymore. And I want them to have that experience, to be here on fight week with me, fight night, after fight. I would love to give them this opportunity because this will pass, I know.
And currently, over the last couple of years or so, it's been a couple fights, 2 fights each year. Is that the pace that you want to keep as well to make sure that you have the time to recover to get back in there? Or are you hoping to maybe step that up and maybe get 3 fights into a year?
Yeah, last year I got 3 fights. March, July and December was a busy year for me, and I would like to fight another time this year. But I think if I keep fighting, in the most like ideal scenario for me would be 3 fights a year, but two is fine too. Like I want to fight another time this year.
And say if you do get, I think you said you had 6 fights left on the contract?
This Saturday and 6 more.
And then 6 more. So roughly that would put you maybe fight a couple times a year. That's like 41 years old. Are you hoping to sign for another 6 after that, or are you just going to see how the body feels at that point?
Let's see how the body feels. Like I think 6 fights is a lot of fights, but we'll see. I hope, I put on God's hands. He's been blessing me, giving me good health, strength, and whatever. If I feel like sign a couple more fights after I get this, but my goal is get this deal done.
And last for me, just looking back at Saturday, what are your keys to the victory? What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I just push myself and be me, be first, and do my game, do what I do best, mix it up, push the pace, and I know I'm capable of, and just be myself. Use my experience and all the hard work that I did on camp, put on display.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
One question. It's obvious that having clarity is so very important to you. What else would you like to accomplish through your passion that you have not yet accomplished?
I think I feel in my heart that I reached the top on a division, a lightweight, and I almost won the welterweight title. I think that would be amazing if I ever one day fight for the title and win. That would be like amazing for me. I would love to have that opportunity, but it's hard, but it's not impossible. I know there is a guy upstairs that he pointed to. He said, "Hey, you're gonna make it. You're gonna do it. You do it. I'm sure about it. I experienced the amazing work before in my life, and of course, being a champion again. But most of all is just like I want to be remembered on my legacy that the guys that always step in the cage to fight and put on a great show. And once I stop fighting, I want to pass this through. Like martial arts has changed my life, and I've seen it changed many people's life too. And I was thinking, like, maybe when I stop fighting, what I'm going to do, open a business, what I'm going to do. So I decided to open a gym. I want to be there, looking people, encouraging people, through experience that I had. And that's what I'm going to do. I think fighting life is very short period of your life, and after a fight you have so much thing to do still in life.
Congratulations on the gym. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, guys.